Hi there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More. So here's the thing. I've got 3 co-hosts and 1 international best-selling author in Houston, and they didn't know about this. They've seen dogs, but they didn't know about this. I said, how do you not know about this? This has got to be a big thing there. And then so when I was telling him about it, like all great movies, so like, when can we see it? I'm like, well, VOD, July 28th. So it's one of these things. Talk about this. How did you choose this project? Because it's really, really important. And as a dog lover myself, man, the first 15 minutes, I almost broke down and started crying myself.
So I guess it goes back to who we are first. We are both Jain monks, and the foundation of everything that we do, it has to do with the principle of nonviolence. And what is nonviolence for us? It's not like what people think, the opposite of violence, because a lot of people think violence is, killing, shooting, hurting somebody physically. But nonviolence is beyond those things. What we think when we talk about it, spiritually speaking, we say nonviolence is oneness, how to be one with all living beings. And so when you begin to feel that connection with all life, with all living beings, whether they're humans, nature, animals, and everyone, what you want for yourself, you want for them. What you don't want for yourself, you don't want for them. And so it comes from this connection of, we want to help alleviate the suffering, the pain and suffering of, all life. And so when we found out about this problem, just like what you said and your friend, in Houston, they said, well, where in Houston? I'm from there. And, I don't know about this problem. I lived in Houston myself for 18 years. And when I heard about the problem, I had the same reaction. It's like, where? Right. And I think a few things happen. One, the problem is happening in very specific pockets of the city. Second, we as humans, we're just always so busy. We're always so worried and concerned about, our problems and what is happening in our minds and, just our jobs and our families, that we don't see what is happening around us. We don't see or observe what's happening in our cities. And that's another reality of this problem, is that it is kind of everywhere, but a lot of people just miss it completely. But once you know about it, it's like, oh my God, a dog there, oh, a cat there, or here. And you start seeing it throughout the whole city. And that's what happened to us when we would, go back to Houston every time. And it was just really everywhere. So I think that's really the core of why, we decided to make this film.
And I was there last year for, I was only supposed to stay for 2 weeks. I was helping my friend clean an apartment. She found another dog, small little white dog, found one, ended up becoming my dog, ended up getting run over by a truck. The dog was crossing and got out, and the truck didn't want to wait, and it ran over the dog. They rushed her to the hospital. That bothered me. So again, having to see this, I kind of got the mentality of this person that didn't care about an animal's life, which is ridiculous to me, because it's called a dog's best friend.
Yeah, it wasn't easy for us to see the suffering. And then you can also see, the rescuers like Tena and Tama, other activists, other rescuers, the street feeders, how much they give of their life. And they do everything that they can. They lose sleep. It really just, even while filming or even during an interview, they're like, can we stop? We need to answer this phone call. And then they're talking to a trapper, or they're talking about another situation. It's ongoing. It is nonstop. And so to see not only the puppies and the cats and like their pain, but to see the humans, it's like everybody is suffering within, of course, this situation. And so what can we do to raise that awareness, to help alleviate the suffering for both, the dogs and of course the humans, because we don't want any soul to suffer.
Talk about you two being, 1, co-directors, 2, women, 3, having lived there at one point, at least one of you, coming about doing this, because not everybody is going to be on your side when it comes to saving a dog or a cat or whatever the case might be. So I can only imagine what you probably went through, and then we'll get into the sisters in a minute.
I think Well, it's a part of us, and of course, to each their own. Everybody's going to have their own opinion of who we are, why we're doing things, and our approach. But we always come back to our pure intention and what we feel is best for, just kind of in our own opinion. And so and that was the direction we wanted to take with the film. Is we wanted to actually show the film organically. We didn't come in with an agenda. It came from a pure place. As documentarians, we want to just capture the truth, and however that comes about, we have to honor that, even if we might get pushback. And so yeah, I think as far as the storytelling aspect, it's really trusting the vision, trusting ourselves, trusting the story to come to light. And all we can do is trust that it will make a difference and touch the lives of people in whichever way. And then as far as how we got into filmmaking, I've been a monk for 15 years. It'll be 15 years this year. And in 2015, I was, really inspired, got hit with the idea, like, we want to start making films. And that was addressing human trafficking, because I had watched a trafficking movie and I was just hit with so much pain, and I was inspired, like, well, I want to do something. And, I told our teacher, and he's like, it's not the right time yet. And with that, sometimes everything's based on timing, and with more confidence, with more strength, with more balance, then I felt stronger to be able to take on tough topics. And Sadhvi Anubhuti has been with me on the journey, and now this is her directorial debut as a co-director. And so we figure out our way to bring up the issues, bring in the spirituality, bring in the human aspect, because that's what's important to us. Because we're not preachy, we're not out there to convert, we're out there to raise awareness, to care about other souls, whether it's in human form or in animal form. And we didn't know about it when we became monks, that filmmaking would be part of our spiritual path.
I think that's great. Being women and being monks, I can understand that. Me being a Buddhist, and you remind me of how Jay Shetty started in a way. But it's also one of those things where this movie gets the 4 E's. We have our own rating system for Movie Reviews and More. It's educational, it's empathetic, it's entertaining, and it's emotional. And with those, you guys have to stay out of the way when it comes to, your job is to capture that, and people forget that. That's not always easy. And talk about what you left out, and then talk about the sisters who happen to be twins.
Well, it was just beautiful. You have kind of twin monks, and then we met twin sisters doing the work that they're doing, and it just aligned perfectly. Their love, their passion, everything that they do, it's truly beautiful, and it's real. Our job was to follow their journey. We was what angle, what approach do we take into making this film? It's like, let's just follow them. Let's just see what their day-to-day is. And, who are they talking to? What are their efforts? Who are they helping? And truly, it was all there. Nothing was made up. Nothing was created for the film. Just by following their journey of their efforts, truly wanting to change the situation for the animals, the story came together. What we left out, there is things that you cannot put everything in one film. But I want to say, I think truly we whatever we captured, most of it made it in the film. We didn't want to be too graphic with the suffering of the animals, because we wanted to make a film that was digestible for people, something that people could watch and be inspired by. So we left out, the graphic aspect of the suffering of the animals for a reason. But, we try to convey that, by sharing certain stories of, what suffering the activists, the feeders and the rescuers see every day in Houston, right? So we try to just, at least by words, share that. But, we wanted to make sure that we capture all aspects, and I'm happy to hear what you said, your feedback on the film. That's really, we're grateful to, that you saw all of those aspects coming together in the film.
How were you introduced to the sisters? How did that happen?
So we met them at an anti-human trafficking event for our last film. Tina, she attended one of our film fundraising events. And so we kind of knew her from a distance. It was kind of her to join the event, but we didn't really know her. And when we got invited to another anti-human trafficking event, it was a luncheon, we ended up sitting at the same table with the twin sisters. And so, we were talking about surviving sex trafficking, and, they started sharing more about their work, and, they feel like they're at the point, because the problem is so bad and like nothing really just seems to work. They're like, maybe we need to make a film about it. Like maybe we need to raise awareness. And so that's how the conversation started on the film side. But for us, our thing is, we want to put our time and energy and of course our love into something that we care about. And what is very important to us is their why. And when, we gave the homework assignment, well, why do you want this film to happen? Like what is your deep why? And, hearing them cry through reading the letter, and just, you it, you feel it, and it's 100% pure. That's when we're like, we're in, we want to help. Well, one, we want to help the animals, but we also want to, bring attention in this way to Houston.
Not to give too much away, and I got a couple minutes left, is talk about the city council, state senator, and the word euthanizing, because that is a key word. What I did not know about that could be used and not necessarily in the right way. That was interesting for me, how you found that out from someone who saved one of the dogs. I thought that was quite interesting.
So that was, he's a former city councilman, Greg Travis, and, avid animal lover. And, he went, I don't want to say too much of the film, we want people to watch it, but, he basically goes to one of the shelters, and this dog, Chloe, was on the list to be euthanized under, because she was marked unhealthy, and sick. And so he's like, not today. And then, he goes through the process and goes through the testing, like, well, the dog wasn't sick. And so through his voice, and his position, he was calling out and just making a point, like, we need to be really aware of, the situation, what's happening, with the euthanizing, are just in general, this question that, are we euthanizing healthy dogs just to make space for the ones coming in off the street? So it really creates a tough conversation, because, I think no matter what, everybody's just trying to do right, but it's really
Overwhelming.
It's an overwhelming situation and a hard call. Some people make right decisions, some people make wrong decisions, but in the end, how can we just reduce the killing of animals?
I'll never forget when I was on my ranch, we had a rescue, very wonderful dog named Lukashina. He's 150 pounds. He was a Rhodesian Rottweiler, but he was really good, but I don't know who released him, never found out. But when I took him to the vet, something had happened. He had a seizure. And I just remember he went in, did not come out, and I'm going home with a dead dog. And I never forgot that. I still had to pay. I'm like, it was confusing to me. I was like, what happened? What happened to our dog? And I never forgot about that, because dogs understand when they walk into that room, they know something bad has happened, because they know from their smell. But what people have to realize, they want a familiar, happy face around them when they're going through stuff, because they are there when humans go through that. And people need to really understand that.
I mean, absolutely. Animals, they feel, they know, and that's what makes this film, just so beautiful, because we learn how animals are. They love us unconditionally. They give us so much back, and sometimes, humans don't give back to the animals, what they truly deserve. And, you raising awareness about that, it's like they feel, they know. And it's so sad to know that these animals, like in the film, we say, they're wagging their tails. They think they're going outside maybe to play, and they're actually heading to the euthanasia room to be killed. right? So that's the reason for this film. We wanted to make this film to truly just reduce the number of animals that are suffering out there. And, we're trying to avoid killing them as much as we can.
Last question, give you social media links for everybody to help people see this film for one thing. And then what do you hope the audience gets out of seeing this film?
We hope that especially if they're in Houston, they're aware of the problem and somehow get involved. If they're not in Houston, one, look at your own city. What does the stray crisis look like in your city? What can you do depending on your time, your resources, your skills? There's always a way. Or even if it's voting, voting for animal rights and animal welfare, a vote goes a long way, especially when trying to find the right leadership. And so, of course, we invite everybody to watch For the Animals. They can go to our website, fortheanimalsmovie.com, and also find us on Instagram and Facebook at For the Animals Movie, as well as TikTok too.
Thank you, Drew, for your time. I really appreciate it. Like I said, when I see things like this, and I will help the sisters for our Dreamweaver Arts and our Dreamweaver Artist Ranch sometime after September, I'll be helping out because, like I said, I have 3 co-hosts in Houston and 1 international best-selling author. So they haven't seen this yet, but I want them to see all the stuff that's going on, So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Brian.
It's nice meeting you.
All right.